The purpose of this video is to introduce the topic of phonetics. So just what is phonetics? Let's start with an observation. In particular, let's think about a word like laugh. If I ask you guys how many letters the word laugh has, my guess is that you'd say it had 5. You'd say it had 5 because the concept of letter is familiar to people who speak a language like English that has what's called an alphabetic writing system, especially people who know how to read. But what if I ask you how many sounds there are in the word laugh? That's a very different kind of question. Knowing how many sounds there are in a word like laugh is harder than it might seem, and it turns out to be a lot less intuitive for people, at least at first. So let's think a little bit about the word laugh. The first thing we probably notice about the word laugh is that the letter L represents the way we begin when we pronounce the word out loud. That is, the L letter corresponds to what we're going to call a sound. In this case, that's easy because the sound is L. But take note of one thing. Even though we use the same L symbol when we talk about the sound L, I've used angled brackets here to distinguish between letters and what we're going to call sounds. Okay, so now let's think a little bit about the end of the word laugh. 2 things are important to think about. The first one is that we spell the end of the word with the letters GH. The second one is that we pronounce the end of the word with the very same sound that we use when we pronounce words such as phone that begin with the letters PH, or fire that begins with the letter F, or the last sound we make in the word off, which ends with the 2 letters FF. So the big picture here is that even though the word laugh ends with the letters GH when we spell it, when we say it out loud, the final sound in the word laugh is what we call an F sound. Even more generally, what's important to understand is that this simple example shows us that letters are not the same thing as sounds, and this is a crucial concept that we all need to understand when we begin to study phonetics. Once we understand that letters and sounds are not the same thing, and that they're in fact quite different, we can also see things like the following. Although the word phone, for example, begins with the letters PH, and the word fun begins with the letter F, what we know when we understand what sounds are is that they both begin with the same sound, the sound F, regardless of how they're both spelled. To finish up with our laugh example, let's think about the letters AU in the word laugh. What sound or sounds do these 2 letters represent? One way to answer that question is to think about, say, a word that rhymes with laugh. One example would be staff. We already know that despite spelling differences, they both end in the same sound, F. And the fact that they rhyme is actually telling us that they share the same vowel sound preceding that final F sound. This sound that we're calling a vowel is again an example where the letters that we use to spell fail us. In the word staff, the vowel sound is written with just the letter A. But in the word laugh, that same vowel sound is written with the 2 letters AU. To represent the vowel sound that we find in the words staff and laugh, I'm going to introduce a new symbol that you have probably never seen before, and this is a vowel symbol that we call ash. One thing to note about this that's kind of interesting is that if you speak British English, we'd actually use a different vowel symbol here because British and US English speakers pronounce the words laugh and staff quite differently. So let's put everything together. We've seen that the word that we write as laugh has 5 letters. L-A-U-G-H, but we've also seen that laugh really only has 3 sounds. Conceptually, then, we've seen that letters are not the same as sounds, and we've shown this by showing how sounds like F and the vowel A can be written with different letters or letter combinations in different words. And this, in fact, is what is part of what makes English spelling so very, very tricky. Okay, then, so back to our original question. What is phonetics? Broadly speaking, phonetics can be described as the study of the smallest units that make up human language. For spoken languages like English, as opposed, say, to sign languages such as American Sign Language, these units are what I've identified here for you as sounds. So if we turn back to the word laugh one more time, most people, if they were to think about it, wouldn't immediately think of the word laugh as being comprised of 3 different sounds, the L, the A, and the F. When we represent laugh this way, though, what we're using is what we call phonetic transcription. And that's a kind of technical jargon in linguistics that we use in order to describe the fact that we're representing the sound structure of a word, not its spelling. In this introductory linguistics class, the specific area of phonetics that we'll be talking about involves studying how to describe the way that sounds are produced. And this is the area of phonetics that's commonly referred to as articulatory phonetics.